John Saltez, Hollywood Soapbox. Thanks for the time today. I'm just curious if when you got the role, whether you went back and did some research on the original films and whether you enjoyed them. Were you fans of Chucky before joining Chucky?
I was definitely a big fan of Chucky. I had seen all the movies. I'm very into horror, so any horror movie ever out there, I have probably seen. So yeah, I had seen all of them. We had a 2-week Canada quarantine when we got to Toronto, so in the quarantine, I also rewatched all of them, and they were just as good the second time.
Obviously, I've never seen the movies, but I obviously know Chucky. I mean, who doesn't? But after booking it, I watched all the movies from beginning to end, and they were awesome. I mean, I enjoyed all of them. They're like a little bit of fun, a little bit of scary. It's a great mix of the both.
In recent years, bowling has become like a real true life horror story for a lot of teens out there. Can you talk to me about how the series touches on the subject matter of bullying?
Yeah, so we kind of start the series finding Jake, who is this outcast kind of artsy loner type. And for my character, Lexy, he is an easy target. And I've had to deal with a lot of bullying just being in the industry that I'm in, and also just being a teen. I found a lot of I've kind of almost used it. I've used my experiences to kind of figure out Lexy, and I guess kind of all works out in the end. But we definitely touch on it in a way that makes every kid feel heard and seen. And I'm hoping that anybody who watches it and maybe is going through the same thing can relate to it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
How are you guys? First of all, lucha.
Oh my gosh.
I'm a huge fan, and I'm a luchador. I'm a lucha gore guy, so cool. I love talking horror, and Chucky's one of my favorites. And I wanted to tell you before, I don't want you to spoil anything. What's more exciting about this show in your opinion? Like what's, first of all, if I'm sure you're a Chucky fan, but what's more exciting about this show? Like what's the difference? Like what's in your opinion? Like what's exciting about this show?
So many
you want to go? Okay.
Either or, yeah.
Okay,
yeah, please, and then you.
I think it's kind of cool being able to work with Chucky. I guess that's a big one. Being able to work with him and kind of seeing how he works. I mean, because I've seen the movies and I was like, how does this guy move? And then it's kind of cool just seeing all the puppeteers there and moving this guy and kind of just like being there with the doll.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh, it's cool.
I'm really excited to watch it and see how it turns. Like all the puppeteering turns out. We spent so much time in Canada filming this, so I'm excited that it's coming out soon and just kind of get to see how it all came together.
Yeah.
Wow. And speaking of filming, how long did it take to film? Like, how long does it take?
In Toronto for 5.5?
5-6 months, yeah.
We had quarantine for 2 weeks, so.
Like a month though to me. I don't know.
A month? Oh wow, the days just go by fast, right?
It went by fast with me. I don't know. I felt like I was just
each other. We were in a little bubble, so all we had was the 4 of us. So we became very close over the whole experience.
When did you realize that you wanted to be actors, performers? Like, what does fairly young kind of decision, I imagine, for you?
Yeah, I was 3 when I started acting. My mom was an actress. Both my sisters were actors. My dad was a AD and producer. So my whole family was already in the business. And then when I was born, actually, my mom and dad made the decision that I was not going to be an actor. They were like, okay, we can get her started if she wants to and a little bit later. But for now, we already have 2 kids that are working full time, driving them everywhere. We cannot take a third right now. And then as the years went on, my sisters would get auditions and they'd be running their lines and I'd come in and repeat their lines perfectly after just like listening in from the other room. My mom and dad were like, oh no, we have another one, don't we? Yeah, I started acting when I was 3 and I've been in love with it ever since.
I don't remember. I have short-term memory loss. I don't remember when I started acting, but I think it was like a few years ago. And I think it just kind of started with like, it's just kind of typical-ish, but like my mom didn't make me do acting, but she was like, do this. And I was like, okay. And then I liked it. And I was like, oh wait, why do I like this? And then ever since I've been doing auditions, I've been booking some things, and I just kind of fell in love with it.
Don Mancini's always found a new way to kind of reinvent Chucky throughout the ages, and putting Chucky on TV kind of allows us to kind of flesh out the stories a little bit more and take the brakes off a little bit. How does the show play into the Charles Lee Ray backstory, and how does that fit into Devon's podcast?
Whoa. I guess the show has more time to go delve into his backstory, and then kind of show do flashbacks and kind of like focusing on him in some episodes. And I guess for my podcast, I think of it as a way to it kind of sets the world. I know how my podcast kind of opens some of the episodes, and then it's kind of I guess. Oh, this is a hard question. I'm thinking about this. I'm getting it all stripped up.
Well, because almost your character is almost like the narrator in a way of to set the story up,
Yeah, and I think it's interesting how how he does that, and how when he starts figuring out about the Charles Lee Ray story, he kind of is like, I could use this on my podcast. And I think it's kind of interesting having that podcast mechanic and using that for kind of as some parts of the story. Yeah. Yeah.
But when Devon gets involved, he's just like, oh, this is a cool story. This is a cool background. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I just got myself involved in something pretty big.
Yes.
But I feel like you love it at the same time. It's terrifying and scary and you want it to stop. But I feel like also Devon's really excited the entire time doing all this crime stuff. This is his whole life. And he's finally involved.
No, it's a dream come true.
True.
I mean, I would listen to the podcast. You guys, it's an amazing show, though. So thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks, everybody. We have to wrap up. Press, if you could just hit the little leave room button, and that